Alright, welcome to game 2, guys. Playing on the black pieces against 719 rated player. And I'm also doing notations though, so one was e4, and I played c6. So I'm essentially playing the Caracan. Going for the Caracan. Okay. So we're out of theory now, which is fine. What do I want to play in response to e5? So if I go d5, I get very strong central control if he leaves it alone. However, if he plays captures, then I could just capture on d6 with my e-pawn. I think I'm going to go with that. Yeah, so let's say d5. Yeah, in the lower ranks you don't really have as many of the openings as you see in the higher ranks. People just go with random stuff. They're still kind of learning to move their pieces and such. Yes, like I thought, d4, let's write it down. Okay, what do I want to do in response? So I think this is just like a regular Caracan, just like a weird order. Normally you have this, then the advancement. So normally bishop f5, I'm going to make that move, is the correct line. Bishop f5. And the basic theory here is to get the bishop outside of this little fortress we're going to build. That way he can attack stuff. I don't know why I use those arrows. But you know, the bishop can attack stuff, and he's not stuck within here. And this black bishop, he could come out at any point just because this wall is white pieces. And then essentially when I build a wall of white pieces, I want to trade off his dark square knight, or sorry, bishop, for my dark square bishop. Okay, so he's going for a quick exchange. In this line, I think I normally just put the bishop right back. Let me notate his bishop d3. So I believe in this line I just go right back to g6, and that way if he captures, then I capture with my h-pawn, and I'm causing him some problems down there, because it opens a file very early in the game. Okay, knight f3. So right now this is a heavy square of contention for him. I think in this case, did I just play e6 anyway? I think I do just play it anyway. Because if he pushes, then I have to take with this pawn. My structure is kind of all sorts of messed up. So I'm going to play e6. I'm going to try that out. Okay, knight g5. I don't think that's a very good move because it's not really threatening anything. I think I just continue regular development, to be honest. And I ignore it. Well, let's see before I do anything dumb. Because this is always a possibility, right? So if he does that, then he could obviously aim for checkmate. So maybe he does this prior, something like that, then brings the queen out. It's a lot harder to defend right then. Maybe I just kick him right off the bat with this. Takes. Then this pawn is hanging. So no, that's not going to be the move. I don't want to do this. Maybe I do this. Maybe that wasn't a bad move. Maybe I capture first. Yeah, I think I capture first. Then I do this. So I'll do bishop takes d3. Yeah, I'm already really liking the fact that I'm playing longer games, as opposed to shorter ones. Because before I would have just rushed out and made a decision, and I'm sure this guy probably isn't thinking too much about the moves, but a high-rated player might have taken advantage of me just rushing out moves. So let me write that down. It says takes on d3. Okay. So now I think I go right back to my original plan of h6. We're just going to kick the knight. And his knight doesn't have a whole lot of good squares right now. He either has to go right back to f3 or he goes to h3. None of those are the best options, I don't think. I also made a weakness in the center. I'm making two isolated pawns. Okay, so knight h3. Alright, so now I continue development. I think typical in the Card-Con, you get shit like knight here and then reposition it. And then you get the bishop out. Because right now there's not a whole lot of good scores for the bishop. Like here I'm blocking my knight. Here we have pawns. Here I obviously can't go. If I go here, then he gets to develop a piece as well. I'm not trying to do that, so I think I moved the knight here. Yeah, so knight e7. Okay, so we got bishop f4. I don't think that's a very good move. His bishop's not aiming at anything. He also just cut off the only other square his knight could go to besides right back where it started. Yeah, maybe I just continue with my earlier idea. Yeah, my position's a lot better than his. I think I just continue what I'm doing. So knight g6, very attractive. Could also just develop the other knight to d7. I think I want to do this. Knight g6. Put some tension on that bishop he just put there. Because now his knight is kind of cemented on that square. Okay, so he goes bishop g3. Okay, so now I can probably continue my development. I could go bishop e7. I could go knight to d7. I think I like knight d7, just keeping my bishop fluid, because I don't know if I'm gonna bishop knight d7. Yeah, what I was trying to say is I don't know if I want my bishop to go here, and then just kind of double up, or I don't know if I want it to go, make an account or an attack on the king. I also don't know if I want to push for c5 eventually. Just just because that would be a better square for my knight in case we castle. So the way that you denote castling in chess notation is you draw O's. So if the king moved 2 spots, you draw O, and then a dash, and another O. So it's like O, O. And then if he castles queenside, that's 3 spaces the king's move, you just do 3 O's with dashes in the middle. So O dash O dash O. So that's how you notate that for your tournament play. Okay. So let's see where I want to go now. Bishop to b4 doesn't offer me too much. A5. A lot of people play, but I don't really understand the move. Maybe just improve the position of the queen. I go queen b6. Just threatening a pawn. The only way he defends is with the queen somehow. Let's try that out. Queen b6. I don't know if that's the best move, because that was one of my outposts for my knight. And I haven't castled yet. I don't want to delay my castling too much. But I'm threatening 2 pawns right here, so I don't think it's too bad. I think the only way he prevents this from happening is by going queen here, which I take, and then he has another set of doubled up pawns, so I don't think it's too bad for me either. Although, maybe I don't even take his queen. Because it's going to take him 2 tempo just to take my queen, and that would further develop my knight. So for 2 moves, I'm going to be further developed. Whereas if I choose to take that pawn, sure, he has another doubled up pawn, but I don't really see a way to threaten that right now. See, if I had a way to take some of these doubled up pawns, I think that'd be one story, but I'm not really seeing anything, so maybe I just further my development for the time being. And further development for me is probably going to consist of knight going to e7, castling, maybe then playing an a5. Yeah, I don't think I'm in a rush to capture his queen. I don't think it's a bad move, I just don't think it's the best for the time being. Okay, queen g4. So he's surrendering the pawn. He might actually be surrendering more than a pawn. Let's just see if he actually has any kind of attack here. I don't think he does. Queen g4. Yeah, just putting your pieces in aggressive situations isn't necessarily the best way to handle this. Because right now if I take this, directly threatening his rook, and then he has to move his knight to connect the rooks in order to save it, but his knight doesn't have any safe squares. Didn't I just say I was going to calculate that for the other side? Okay, I already did a good job positioning these pieces, and I can also castle queenside still. Maybe I eliminate the threatened castle. Let's see. Can you capture this? No, it takes like several moves to get there, so this is fine. Queen takes b2. And on that note, I'm actually going to use the restroom. I'll be back. Alright, so it appears he hasn't made a move yet. I don't really blame him. He's in a little bit of a pickle right here. See, I like that he's mobilizing his pieces, but the thing is, you want to stay a little bit fluid until you know where the king castles. So he's kind of all mobilized on one side right now, which for one left a weakness, which I just exploited, but for two, if I just castle queen side right now, all of his pieces are in the wrong spot, and they need to move on to the other side of the board in order to attack the king, or they need to attack, minor pieces, which isn't ideal. Oh, man, I'm tired. Got no idea why. I think I slept alright. Okay, so you're just moving another knight. Let me notate that first and foremost. Knight to f4. Knight to f4. So, what kind of threats does he have if I leave it alone? So if I just take the rook, we have takes, takes. Queen's going to take this pawn. When queen takes that, we'll probably block with a bishop, and then he grabs another pawn. So he's going to get 2 pawns here for the rook. But I think I'm still safe. I have to move here afterwards. And then I believe the attacks cease. He can take a third pawn at that point. But I think I just go here, double the rooks, and I'm okay. So I'm not worried too much about that. But it is a little bit awkward, so is there anything I can do to prevent his attack? Click off for a second. So what if I went knight here, for example? Just tuck it right back in. Don't take the rook yet, don't be greedy. What would happen? So if I tuck the knight back, yeah, there's nothing he can attack at that point. He can take the pawn in a sacrifice play, but he doesn't get anything past that pawn. I think I'm going to do that. Tuck the knight back to e7. I'm in no rush to take that rook. He still doesn't have a way to save it, or his knight. Well, I guess, sorry, he can save the rook, but... Okay, what is this? So I'm at bishop h4. He is trying to mobilize an attack, which I do like from him. Do I take the rook now? Is there any threat? So it takes. If I take with a bishop, then he's going to take this pawn with the queen. Then, if I castle, he's going to take the next pawn. It's also a little bit awkward. So what if I took with a king? So it takes, takes. And then we get, can't capture this. He could move his queen here. I can move right back. So I think I'm going to take my rook now. Queen takes a1. Another idea I was contemplating was queen takes d4, and that's because the rook threat's still on the board, but then he can't move his knight anywhere, so wherever he chooses to attack, it's going to be without the knight, because then his queen's going to be hanging, and if he moves his queen for the attack, then his knight's hanging. So that was another idea I was considering. I think I like this option more, because I didn't see any trouble with it, but in a bullet game, sorry, not bullet, in like a faster format game, I think I would just go ahead and take the pawn instead of the rook, since I wouldn't be able to calculate it all out, and that one would be safer. But anyway, we have knight c3, so I think I'm just going to take knight c3, because that's also now protected, and I'm still not scared of his attack. That's what I'm going to do. And I haven't even castled yet. When I review the game, I'm going to be interested to see if he did have any attacking options that I missed. See if a better player would have exploited me just going Rambo with my queen. But I think because of the structure that I made that he can't really punish me. Okay, so we see knight h5. Knight h5. So what's he thinking? Is he thinking about taking on g7? That's a possibility. Although if he takes on g7, then... oh, I don't know. It would be check. But I could also ignore it. So say a castle, for example. Alright, castling's one idea. Another idea I have is this. For one, if he takes here, I just retake. And he's just lost a piece. For two, I'm threatening his bishop, which doesn't have a good retreat score. I like that, actually. I'm going to go knight f5. Another option could have been knight to g6, but I think that would have brought us to some of the same lines that we were at earlier. It does prevent this move, but... yeah, I like this, because then he can't retreat here either. Actually, shit, he probably can, huh? And recapture with this pawn. No, because I have this here. I'll threaten the queen exchange. Now that I'm up in material, I want to just exchange pieces. So yeah, I'm going to be eyeing queen takes d4. And if he doesn't move the bishop, I'm going to take it. And if he's going to try to complicate things further, then I'm going to try to protect myself. Okay, let's write that down. Bishop f6. So what are my threats here? If I take with a pawn, what happens? If you recapture with knight, then I recapture with my knight. I think I just take pawn takes f6. He doesn't have enough pieces for a threat. Knight g7. G7. Check. The way you notate check is with a plus. The way you notate capturing a piece is an X, and the way you notate checkmate is double plus. If you're notating your games so that you could look back at them, like at certain moves or something like that, and you can't remember what number move it was, then you put like a question mark next to it indicating like a questionable move. Put like multiple question marks if it's like a blunder or like a really questionable move. Explanation mark means it's like a really good move. And then like double explanation marks means like brilliant move, stuff like that. And then double plus is checkmate. But anyway, I'm not going to accept the job, my friend. Probably just going to recapture with the knight. Or with the bishop. I don't know. I don't want to do it with the bishop because then it's going to be hanging. I'm just going to do it with the knight. Right? No. We're going to recapture with bishop. Bishop takes g7. Okay, we have x takes f6. Or sorry, just x f6. I'm just going to recapture that with my bishop. He's no longer having any threats on me. Alright, so now I'm going to castle queenside. I'm just going to get my rooks together and aim for his king. It'll be very simple. Here on out. Okay, so queen h5. I'm pretty content now with taking pawns and just going for the trade. I don't want to castle now just because then he takes this pawn and there's pieces hanging. But right now things are just protected. Fine. So probably queen takes d4 is what I'm thinking. I don't want to take this pawn because then this rook is complicating things. Also here I could look to trade and get my pieces involved. Queen takes d4. Okay, h3, that's a waiting move. This is a decent option because it wins either the queen or the rook. You cannot take with this pawn. Knight g3 is what I'm currently thinking. Could also just put the rook down here and really go for a checkmate, but I think I'll take this from him. He's got to protect the queen first and foremost. And I don't know if his queen has any safe squares. No, no, no. This is a safe square, but I'm just going to take that. And then I'm going to take the rook afterwards. So knight g3. And he's going to forfeit soon, I hope. Obviously, a tactic like this doesn't matter in this scenario just because I'm so far ahead, but you want to look for tactics like these kind of in your games all the time. Okay, so rook e1, just getting the queen. Knight takes h5. I'm not meaning to take all those pieces. Normally games are surrendered after like 2 captures. Okay. He just doesn't want to FF, I guess. Rook g8 after g4. I'm just going to go for a checkmate now. I mean, his king's in the corner. I got a lot of pieces. It shouldn't be very difficult. a4. Alright, let me try to win this as cleanly as possible. I could bring the bishop in and try to take here. Then I could take this. I'm not going to draw. I'll start with bishop h4. If he defends with like rook f2, for example. Okay. He defended with rook e3. Rook e3. Okay, so I'm thinking right now. Like queen here, for example. Could also just sacrifice the bishop. I want to do this cleanly. I mean, everything I do wins here, but I also don't want to just throw away too much material, because even though it won't matter this game, I'm sure there will be a game where throwing away this much material will matter. I'm gonna go here. Slowly cut off the breathing space for this king. Made F4. That way he can no longer go here, and then try running out somewhere. And the checkmate is close. Okay, so we got A5. Gonna go Queen A1. Check. And basically, yep, he has to go King H2. And I think it's mate in 2 if I'm not wrong. It's probably just right here. Maybe 3 if he's stubborn. Queen F1. And I'm looking a few places. Obviously, this here is checkmate. If he defends something like that with the rook, I could just take here first. Okay, so he didn't defend it. He goes rook F3. I'm gonna go Queen G2 plus plus. So game 2 is another win. Nice. And we jumped to 806 rating. Not bad. So 2 games are 806. Okay. Let me go over the game. I don't want to do it with the computer. I just want to do self-analysis. So we got a game featuring the Caracan. 96.2% accuracy. That's pretty good. Let's see. So, yep. Boom, boom, boom. That was always kind of weird. My computer didn't like my move right there, so let me see what's better, if it lets me. D5 is considered the 3rd best choice. You also have D6. And then you also have E6. E6 actually looks decent, just because then I could get my pieces out there. But I like this line just because it kind of is very standard to the Caracan. Because say, for example, he does this. Yeah, like I thought, that would favor me. I would just take with pawn. Just like that. And this is an equal game. And if he defends, then that's very similar to the Caracan, which I've been practicing, so I was okay with that. But anyway, we get this. I just moved the bishop back. It was better than that. Bishop takes is better, apparently. I know I take down the line anyway, but okay, that makes sense. Huh. Yeah, that's actually even as well. Yep, because I was thinking I want the light square bishops on the board, since I'm used to playing lines where I want the light square bishops on the board, but I'm playing black right now, so I want those off the board. So that would be completely okay with me. Yeah, I should have done that. That's fine though. So I go here. He goes knight. I go there, just kind of furthering my pawn structure by protection. He goes here. Yeah, I knew that was a bad move. So I could take his. I think I do take his bishop here. That's what they're recommending is the best move. Yep. I go h6, kick it. He goes to h3. At this point, I'm winning pretty easily. Just further development. Yeah, he puts his bishop on a bad square. I guess there was a better move. They like knight f5. Say like this, because I'm targeting that pawn. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. However, I didn't mind my move either. Okay. Goes back. Continue development. At that point he's losing because I take that. He goes knight f4. I go right back. Let me see if this would be a blunder, actually. Not a blunder, but he does get counterplay, so... Okay. I go back. Bishop here. I take. Knight out. I take that. At this point, it's one game. I don't want to go over anything else. That's pretty, don't want to beat that to death. That's game 2. Not bad. Not going to play another one for now, just because I'm going to be playing some League with Connor in a bit. But I might try to upload these videos, actually. Maybe I don't want to keep it as a hidden account, but just like a learning account. Nah, because then people will track me. I'll wait until I'm like higher ranked. I'll make the videos, but I don't think I'll publish them yet. But if I publish them, I'll make it in a private collection, and then I'll drop it at a later point. But thanks for tuning in to, I guess that's game 2 and review, featuring the Caracan, and I'll see you for game 3.